I'd like to call the March 2025 meeting of the Edison Public Library Board to order at 7:01 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As required by the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:41(1), adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by notices given to the Home News Tribune, Neptune, New Jersey, the Star Ledger, Newark, New Jersey, News India Times, Jersey City, and New Jersey, posted on the Edison Public website and bulletin board, and given to the Township's Clerk Office. Mr. Kleiman, please call the roll.
Ms. Mead?
Here.
Ms. Pam?
Yes, here.
Mr. Patel? Here. Ms. Kabadi?
Yes.
I'll get it right. Ms. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Here.
Ms. Leary?
Here.
Mr. DeBasqua?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, great. So the first order of business was we're going to be going into a closed session. So I will read the resolution. Be resolved by the Edison Public Library Board of Trustees that the board will now enter into a closed session to discuss matters related to personnel, as these matters involve confidential employee information protected by the state. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Everybody? Aye?
Aye.
All right. Okay, great. We can just ask everybody except for the trustees to, it will not be too long, so we will come and get you when we're done. Okay, we are going to, look at the resolution. Alan, if you could please read this for us.
Do we need to do resolution first, then motion in second?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I need to take my glasses off. Resolution for return of temporary disability funds to library staff. Whereas the library's payroll was processed through the township prior to January 2023, which did not include temporary disability insurance, TDI coverage for library staff. And whereas the library board, in an effort to provide an additional benefit to employees beginning in 2023, when the library began to process its own payroll, instituted a deduction from staff paychecks for temporary disability insurance premiums. And whereas the deductions from staff paychecks were remitted to the state of New Jersey Department of Labor for coverage beginning January 1, 2023, and continuing through December 31st, 2024. And whereas it was later discovered that the funds deducted from employee paychecks were deposited into an inactive account with the state of New Jersey, and as a result, temporary disability insurance coverage was never activated by the state of New Jersey for Edison Library staff members. And whereas the library board became aware that the state of New Jersey had not established temporary disability insurance coverage after learning the state denied a disability claim submitted by an employee in 2024 on the grounds that the employer was not enrolled in the state's plan. And whereas the library board took action to resolve this issue by submitting a resolution to the New Jersey Department of Labor in December 2024 to formally address the matter and rectify the situation. And whereas the library board has committed to returning the funds deducted from employees' paychecks for temporary disability insurance contributions in 2023 and 2024 as part of their obligation to the staff. And whereas the library board acknowledges the need to provide back wages to the 2 employees who applied for temporary disability benefits in 2024 and were denied in accordance with contractual agreements and expectations of coverage. And now therefore be it resolved that the library board authorizes the return of all temporary disability insurance contributions deducted from staff paychecks from January 1, 2023 through December 31st, 2024. And be it further resolved that the back wages for the 2 employees that applied for temporary disability benefits in 2024 were denied will be paid subject to the terms and conditions set forth in the collective bargaining agreement in place for the relevant time. Adopted this 11th day of March 2025 by the Edison Public Library Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Ellen. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, do we have any board member comments?
Do you want me to
Yeah.
speak on
Yeah,
it just a little bit? Just to make everyone aware, what happened is back in January of 2023, the library started taking paycheck deductions for the temporary disability insurance. It was being sent to the state and being held by the state with no notification that the library wasn't enrolled in the temporary disability program. The only way that the library became aware that this was going on was when 2 employees were denied coverage on the basis that there was no coverage. So through the work of Alan and I think Amanda, they reached out to the state. They were able to recover all of the funds that had been paid in. Those funds are now going to be returned to the employees, and to make the employees whole who were denied coverage, they're now going to be paid their full salaries in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement. So it's an unfortunate situation. The library is now enrolled as of January 1st. There was a board resolution in December, I believe. So this will not be an issue going forward. But for now, to make everyone whole, they're going to return the money and pay the full salaries of the employees who were denied coverage.
All right, thank you. I just want to say, I want to thank Alan and Joe and Amanda, for working on this. I know there was a lot involved in this and trying to figure out which way to go and keep it in the legality of everything. And I think we really have come to a great solution. And it's something that, we're putting out there just so residents, employees, anybody that has questions about it. It's the resolution, I think Alan said we're gonna be able to post
It'll be posted.
Post
on
it
the website.
on the website, so it'll be out there for anybody that, wants to read that. And if anybody does have any questions, feel free to ask, direct them to Alan. I think this is really good. It shows the transparency, and it shows that we support our employees, and it shows that when we do have an error, that we are there to solve it. We're not gonna hide anything. It happened. We know what happened. We figured out what happened, and we have a solution, and we're gonna make the employees whole. So I think, as a board of trustees and those that worked on this, we should be very proud how we're handling this situation. So just wanted to mention that. All right, if we can have a roll call vote.
Ms. Mead,
Yes.
Ms. Pam,
Yes.
Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Ms. Kabadi,
Yes.
Ms. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yes.
Ms. Leary,
Yes.
Mr. Di Pasquale.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Okay, a resolution to approve the minutes. Mr. Body, if you would please give us a summary of the minutes.
Minutes of the Edison Township Library Board of Trustees meeting of February 18, 2025. Present Fiona Mead, Jyoti Pamidi-Makulla, Shreyans Patel, Pallavi Kabadi, Rinki Singh, Joseph Romano, Anthony Di Pasquale. Absent Katrina Leary and Richard Brescher, both excused. Also present, Joseph Columbit, Board Attorney, Alan Kleinman, Library Director, Deborah Sarr, Assistant Director, Amanda Coyle, Administrative Operations Manager, Michael Worth, Coordinator of Marketing and Community Engagement. The president called the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. He led the salute to the flag and the open public meeting statement was read, roll call taken. The minutes of the regular open session of January 14, 2025 was approved. Mr. Di Pasquale announced that the Clara Barton Library is not closing and that they are in the planning stages of implementing Clara Barton Community Connections in March and April. He also stated that the construction for the main and North Edison branches are ongoing and are on a good trajectory forward. The bill list dated February 10, 2025 was approved. Michael Ward joined the meeting at 7:28 p.m. to discuss the proposed new library logos. Mr. Kleinman stated that the third proposed option aligns with the direction that the library wants to go and recommended that option. The resolution to approve the newspapers of record for 2025 was approved. Resolution to extend the time allotted for public comments at the library board meetings to 4 minutes was approved. Resolution to amend the bylaws of the Edison Public Library Board of Trustees to establish the Patron Services Committee was approved. Resolution to allow treasurer, president, and director to make the decision to roll over the CDs was approved. After public and board member comments, Mr. Di Pasquale put forth a resolution to go into closed session to discuss personnel. Closed session was entered at 8:56 p.m. Motion to return to open session was issued at 9:23 p.m. On motion and second, the meeting was adjourned at 9:24 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Ms. Mead,
Yes.
Ms. Pam,
Yes.
Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Ms. Kabadi,
Yes.
Ms. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yes.
Ms. Leary,
Abstain.
and Mr. Di Pasquale.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you.
And I believe that, the minutes for the closed session were distributed, tonight by the township attorney. It should be, should have been under your, agenda.
Great. Can I have a motion to approve the closed session minutes?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Speed,
Yes.
Ms. Pam,
Yes.
Mr. Patel,
Yes.
Ms. Kabadi,
Yes.
Ms. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yes.
Ms. Leary,
Abstain.
and Mr. Di Pasquale.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Okay, we're going to the president's report. I have to say there's a lot of stuff going on with the library system at this point. So it's February 24th, we had the groundbreaking. And it was a great celebration. We had a good amount of public officials there, and it was a good push for the renovations that we are having at the North Library. The other thing that happened is Alan and myself spoke at a council meeting, which we're going to be doing pretty regularly, just to update the council, let them know what's happening, and you know, it's another avenue for the residents to be able to hear what's happening with the library. The more we put out there, the more support we can get from the council and from the residents on what the library is doing. Another thing is on this past Sunday, we had two events at the main library. We had Holy Zumba for kids, which I was told there was about 54 attendees. There was 25 kids, which was the maximum that they could take. And the other ones, the other people that were there were the adults and people who were just looking on. And then I actually attended the afternoon with my son, the Irish balladeer, Richard Stillman, which was, it was great. He was an Irish singer, played guitar, played a small accordion, played a banjo, played a penny whistle, had a parade with some of the kids around the room. It was a fun time. It was really enjoyable to see that. And I'm sure, as we'll hear from Alan Moore, you know, with the construction going on at Main and North Library, and you know, looking at what's happening with Clara, you'll hear through a facilities report and updates from Alan on what we're gonna be looking forward to with, Clara. So, like I said, there's a lot of exciting things to look forward to, and that's what I have, so. Let's move on to the financials. You,
We have our first page is our bank balance sheet. We now quarterly move at the end of this month, we'll be moving some funds from the main capital and the North Edison capital into our operating accounts to pay for some of the projects we've been working on. Basically, we are only looking at this point of 2 months of financials. Everything at this point is on target. If you look at your admin statement of revenue and expenditures, we did receive in February our quarterly payment of $1,164,590.91. The bill list, generally, I was kind of surprised it was this small. We only had one major bill from G. Meyer for renovations. And the second largest bill we have here is from TBS, Today's Business Solutions, who we have been working with for our new update of technology and equipment. Just as a side note, we are probably this month we'll see hopefully our new equipment in the main meeting room for new projection equipment. We have several other things on order, some new scanner for this building, a new scanner for the main library. And once the new tables are, I'll say electrified, we'll be putting out a whole caveat of computers for the public. Basically, that's kind of it. If anyone have any questions about anything on the bill list that I could answer for them. And you can see some of the phase one furniture at Maine is here as well on the list. Of course, purposes we're already going to be starting to order the furniture for the lower level. And we will probably shortly start to look at our initial furniture purchases for the North Edison branch so that we get them in time. So all of these projects are all overlapping each other, and we kind of look at the main library as two separate projects, upstairs and downstairs, from just general for us. We probably, we're not sure yet, but we've been going month to month with our janitorial services contract. And most likely, we will, once we get settled in North and everything is up and running, we probably will not be renewing that anymore. We basically, the North Edison branch is a small, the temporary is small. This building is small. The main library, we currently have 3 custodial staff who all agree that they just as well can do what the janitorial services do, but even better. So I'm going to take them up on it, and that money going forward, once we stop, can be used for other things such as programming or books or whatever. So we did allocate a whole year's worth, but, in talking with, the staff, they say they can do it themselves. So that's kind of the bill list and a little bit of facilities, but I didn't want to, it's kind of, I mean, basically, most of what ends up on this bill list ends up in three different categories. Books, buildings and grounds, and technology. Those are the three big areas, if you look at this, of what it comes down to, what we spend each month. You know, supplies are a small amount, and compared to, you know, our book number is over $500,000 just on materials alone. So that's a big number for us. So those are the three, and this year we again put in, I believe it was 200,000 again for technology, and we probably will definitely use that as we replace all this equipment with the new building. So I thought I would, since we didn't have a lot on the agenda, just go over a little bit more of the bill list, so sure, everyone has an idea of what we spend our money on. And I think this bill list that Christopher does is very clear and very simple. And if there's anything else that anyone wants added, just let us know and I can have them updated.
The today's business solutions, the 41-7, what exactly is that?
They are the company that replaced our print management system. They are the company that replaced our terminals that we use when people use the copy machine to pay, and that's in all the buildings. So I missed it with TBS. The copy machines and the printers, those two, we had to buy, we bought all new updated coin and bill receipt things that accept credit cards and Apple Pay, so that we're keeping up with what people want. So it was an upgrade that for us, and actually it happened last year, but they forgot to bill us. So this actually was last year, and we've been working with them now for a couple of months. And we are expecting a new scanner for this building to come in probably next couple of weeks for the public. The one that we put in at North is very, very easy and very user-friendly. And we'll have a new one for the main library. People do come, this is tax season, it's the busiest time of the year for us, for people doing scanning of a lot of stuff. But that's what we're here for. That's what people come to the library for. We're a one stop in the community where they know they can get these services. And the plus of it is, not only do they get the services, but if they can't figure out how to do it, there are people that actually will get up and help them. So it's not a Staples.
Right.
We're a double full service location for everyone. And people of all ages use the scanner stuff. I'm looking forward to getting those new ones.
Great. All right, so do we have a motion to approve the bill list dated March 11th, 2025? Motion. For a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call please.
Ms. Mead,
Yes.
Ms. Pam,
Yes, yes.
thank you. Mr. Patel? Yes. Ms. Gabati?
Yes.
Ms. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Romano?
Yes.
Ms. Leary?
Yes.
Mr. Di Pasquale?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, did you want to talk about the CD?
Yes, so, what, we did was I looked at the projections of, what we're going to have in capital, outlay. We're coming into the last couple of months for the main library, plus all the technology. So what we did was, we renewed, the, two of the CDs, the one for the 1 million and the one for 500. It's over that with interest. And those have been renewed for 6 months, because I'm anticipating that 500,000 we're gonna need for, North, but we're not gonna need that until the fall. Till the fall. And the same with the million is kind of our reserve once everything's done. And the, other 500,000 we cashed out. It was transferred to us and it's in our bank account, ready to be used. That was transferred to the main, account. So, I will thank, I have to say, I will continue to thank, Renee and Lisa at TD Bank, who are just wonderful to work with. I mean, I can't speak more highly of them. I mean, it's just email, everything gets done. I don't have to remind them or any of that stuff. So,
Right.
yeah, we have a good relationship with them, and so that works for us.
Great, very good. All right, the director's report.
I'm gonna try to keep it short, under 2 hours. I mean, basically, we'll start with North. North Edison branch at 777 Grove currently has a partial fence around it. The contractor has already just done that as a precaution. And we expect that tomorrow or Thursday, the entire building will be emptied. The moving company that we have worked with has been marvelous. We started with them last Monday and Tuesday, and on Tuesday and Wednesday, they delivered for us to 1907 Oak Tree Road, all of the equipment and books and things that we would need to get started over there. So they've been really good to work with. So basically, we had a couple of hurdles in regards to 1907. So we all learned a couple of things, that if you lease commercial space, you need to get things inspected and you need to have certificates of occupancy and insurance. The insurance we knew. Also, we are currently waiting for Optimum to install full internet. So staff will be able to use hotspots to at least get started and to actually get the place in order. So they will be starting there tomorrow. And we think we could actually open a soft opening on Saturday. The only thing we would not have is internet for the public if it doesn't happen. But they will, with the hotspots, be able to check items in and check items out for people. They'll be able to pick up their holds. They'll be able to sit and read a newspaper. They'll be able to read a magazine. They'll be able to choose books. I think the only board member is Tony, who has actually been at 1907. And so we'll wait for a couple of days and we'll have like an open house once everything is done, probably. I'm not gonna say next week, because next week we're concentrating on the community conversations here. But it could be that we just do some coffee and cake during the week and have it available to people. People are really anxious for us to reopen. So I want to thank the custodial staff, as always, for the good job that they've done both at 777 and you see, we're now using numbers. We don't need to name it. It's now, everything's a number. So from 777 to 1907, that's 7. I think we need to play those numbers. And so I think the next group will be the staff who will be doing that. The main library, as I mentioned before, we start to look at furniture for the first floor. The first floor is entirely gutted, and it's really freaky because the meeting room is gone, the bathrooms are gone, Deborah's old office is gone. Everything's going to be redone down there. I think it's going to really be super. They've already started framing. So you get to see where some of the stuff is going to be. So, And they are anticipating, that, their work downstairs, because this is the bulk of it, which is doing what they have already done, should be done somewhere in June. So, and I think G. Meyer has been pretty good on target unless something happens that is out of anyone's control. So we really are anticipating if, we finish that in June, July, will give us, time to get all the stuff back that's in storage, get the 2 floors set up the way we are, because we can set up downstairs without closing upstairs, except for, I don't think we're going to have to. So we're looking at, to be able to, have the whole main library done, by the end of, July. And that's really exciting for us. I left on the back table, we're gonna be promoting it more this week, a couple of mailings, the community conversations. The first 2 center on the Clara Barton branch and the Clara Barton community. How can the library best serve the community, and what can we do to be a better neighbor in the community? How do we more actively participate in the Clara Barton neighborhood and what's going on that we have in the past? So we've started to make contact with our architect. We have to give him the drawings so he at least has a start of what's going on here. And I guess the next couple of months, we'll be working with the facilities committee to look at what are the needs. And I think these 2 conversations, the one in March and in April, will give us a better idea of what the community is looking for this library to be. You know, kind of future thinking. So those pretty much, I've really been working on construction projects. I didn't know I was gonna be an engineer when I took this job. You know, it's a good learning experience. This way I'm sort of ready for the last library. The first 2, we learned a lot in the first 2. And now this one I'm gonna say is gonna be easy compared to the first 2. So pretty much that's it. Deborah, you have a couple of things, some new staff that you
Yes.
wanna introduce?
Yes. So we want to welcome 3 new staff members. Lucas Luis, who is a full-time IT person. He's joined Kevin and Pretty. Jonah Kavetsky, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. He is part-time. He's also IT, has joined Kevin and Pretty. And Rose Eid, who is a new teen tween librarian. She'll be working with Caitlin on doing programs for the teens. So
And
that's very
mainly,
exciting.
mainly at the one.
Yeah.
So we'll have, we now have a full-time children's librarian in, both, libraries. We have a full-time teen tween librarian in both libraries. And those staff, we already have more than half-time children's librarian here. And both Rose and Caitlin will be taking turns here once a day. So we'll have more support of the librarians to do things through pretty much, you know, 0 through that 18 age, with programming and with collection development and stuff.
Yeah.
And going out to the schools, which we have been encouraging. Not only the staff, we have been getting a lot of calls to go out to the schools. So we're really, really excited to do that.
Yep.
And we're very happy. I should also thank DPW. They are the department of the town who services our bookmobile and have for probably the last 35 years. Not this one, but yeah, they've always been. And they seem to work miracles. They really do a great job. So I'm gonna send a note over there and say thank you. So stuff that wasn't working before is now working. So yeah, but you know, the older bookmobile is starting to really show its age. It's got electrical problems, like, you know, it's yeah. So At some point this year, we will talk about, the new one, yeah.
Great,
So that's kind of my report.
great. Okay, we'll move on to, committees. We'll start off with actually, I'll just say this, the facilities and bookmobile did meet. Pager Services met last night, so we'll do that report, at the next meeting. So, Pat, if you would like to present the facilities.
Thank you. So we met, the facilities committee meeting took place on February 20th. For Maine, we kind of broke this up by branch and the bookmobile. For Maine, as Alan mentioned, we're looking at new furniture. Some other upcoming things to look for, again, kind of overlapping with Alan, a lot new technology, projector system going in. So that's really good change for all of our patrons that will be there. We are looking into discussions for a potential backup generator, should we need to use this as an emergency shelter. It doesn't look like there's any need at the moment, but that's something forward thinking that we can be considering. North, again, my update on here was the lease should be signed this week. Obviously, we're far past that, but we are in coordination for permitting and inspections, like Alan had mentioned as well. Clara Barton, Arcari Iavino is now involved to give an evaluation of the branch and look into how we can upgrade it, how we can refresh it, just make it a little newer. Again, once we have these meetings with the community, then we will be able to get a better idea of what the community is looking for this branch, and then work with Arcari Iavino to kind of bridge that gap. One of the considerations that we discussed was adding access to the doors on Hoover Ave up here. Previously, the issue was staffing for both the first and second floor. But we have staff who may be able to do it. And that's approximately a $6,000 to $7,000 cost. So that's something we're looking into as well. Again, looking for community engagement for the Clara Barton branch. So for the friends, don't need to call you out right here, but for the friends, as many people as we can have, participate would be great. We're looking for feedback from the community. Folks that regularly use the library, folks that don't usually use the library, who may want to see something that may draw them to the library, anyone and everyone. One other thing we talked about was just this, visibility for the branch, as Alan mentioned as well. We talked about maybe doing some events over at the Stewart's lot, and exploring that as an option, or other locations around the Clara Barton Library, so we can attract people to it since it is a bit tucked away. The bookmobile, I'm glad to hear that Public Works is doing well. We have a good roads garage. The one thing we discussed was there's a conference in October, usually where all the bookmobiles are present. So our staff will be there, I believe you and a couple other members, to take a look at those and then explore all our options before we make a decision on looking into any potential changes or upgrades or purchases to a new bookmobile. And as another note too, we did discuss at the meeting about additional signage for Clara Barton. Since that meeting, we as in Library Township are working with Public Works on getting that signage into. So once we have that design, the proposed design from the vendor, we'll discuss that at our next facilities meeting as well, make sure it's up to everyone's standard, and then go forward from there.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
So just one comment I want to make is about the storage lot. I did contact there's a nonprofit organization that actually runs or manages that. So I did send an email to them, and I'm asking them for the daily, weekly, monthly, and possibly long-term lease. Just options just to see what, we might be able to use it for. Alan and myself have been discussing, like, if we have an event here and we need parking, we could possibly use that for parking. Or we're looking at over the summer, having some events there. We discussed last night at the Patron Services, possibly, having a kids band, having events for, kids throughout the summer, so it's just something that it opens us up to be able to do more events, in this area for those residents. Again, first, once I get the information from them on pricing and, how we could figure that out, that's something that I think would be really beneficial for, the library to promote. It helps, promote the library, and it also is a place for, residents, parents to bring their kids to something like a Friday night or a Saturday. So there's just a lot of ideas that opens us up to. So we are in talks in figuring that part out. So that's really exciting. Does anybody have any questions for me or Kat about the report at all? Everybody good? Okay, great. Okay, no unfinished business. We do have new business. Alan, if you would like to read that resolution?
Yes. A resolution to approve the Edison Public Library to apply for a grant from the New Jersey State Library for it's Rev 250, which is the American Revolution, will be 250 years next year, and approval of eventual acceptance of any funds offered. So we need a board approval for us to apply. We have had initial discussions with the Historical Society, and they're more than happy to co-sponsor that with us. And we'll probably be taking the lead. We're not sure how much we're asking for, but the way that the state library has kind of put this, we might ask for 5,000 and they give us 2,500, which is why they asked this resolution be of eventual of any funds offered. So I think there's good opportunity for us, and we're currently developing the speakers list. We want to try to do some things for all ages. So a little bit different. And as you know, Edison was one of the locations for one of the skirmishes. I'll use it, battle of Short Hills. We know, and we've got the pond or whatever, but this whole area of New Jersey was the American Revolution for 1776, 1777, 1778. So there's a lot of stuff. But we're gonna probably be looking at not just the revolution. The other thing we are thinking about, but we might be going solely sidebar, but just to let you know in case we do. Next year is also the 150 for Edison establishing his laboratory at Menlo Park. So we're gonna see if we can do something we've done prior programming with the West Orange Public Library. Of course, the other great place in New Jersey that has the Edison history. And I think we're gonna be looking at some co-programming and maybe getting some funds from the Council of the Humanities or the Historical Council on Jersey Council of History, whatever that is next year. So we're looking at this kind of stuff to supplement what we do. But it also, I think, gives us a little bit more publicity that we get the funds from the state organization. So about Edison, right? Edison has a great history, you know?
Great. Okay, so, we have a motion.
So moved.
Second, roll call?
Ms. Mead,
Yes.
Ms. Pam,
Yes.
Mr. Patel. Yes. Ms. Kabadi,
Yes.
Ms. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Romano,
Yeah.
Ms. Leary,
Yes.
Mr. Di Pasquale.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Great. Okay. Let's get- Hey, before we go into, public comments, I just wanna bring up two things. The first thing is that, at my request, Alan did purchase a clock that will be visual for everybody to be able to see, so it's not just my phone here. So, we're waiting for that to come in, and, most likely at the next meeting, we'll have that all set up, so that's something that will help us manage the, public comment time. The other thing is, I would like to address, there was a question, I guess, at the last meeting or 2 meetings ago about who authored the resolution for the new law firm. So to address the questions raised in the library meeting, and on social media, I would like to provide some clarification. I authored the resolution to change the law firm. The question that was raised, that there were some legalese, of the resolution. I have to say there are numerous AI tools, samples online that can assist with much matters. I am not a lawyer, but there are many samples out there that you basically can look at, fill in what you want, and you're all set to go. So I do take full responsibility of that. And just to answer any questions of why I did not answer that at that meeting, I do have to say that as we do read in our document that we do not have to answer any questions, but we'd like to when possible. And you know, for myself, I like to think about what the answers are that, you know, that I'm gonna provide. I don't wanna just give them off the cuff. Some might say this is a simple answer, but again, I wanna go back, I wanna think about it just to make sure, you know, I'm getting older. So did I really do that? Did I not? You know, so I just wanna make sure that, you know, so that's something that it's not always Peter just avoiding the question. If I can answer that question, it might be that night, or it might be in the future with a well-versed answer that, you know, hopefully will satisfy what the question is. So I just wanted to bring that up, and we're gonna go into public comments, so let me read this. During the open portion of its meetings, the library board provides the public with an opportunity to offer comments regarding matters pertaining to the library. Pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-12, the board is entitled to permit, regulate, or prohibit public participation in its meetings. Each speaker will have a maximum of 4 minutes to speak and should limit comments to matters pertaining to the library. The speaker will be directed to conclude their remarks once speaker time has expired. A speaker may not speak more than once during the same public comment period. No time may be yielded to a speaker by another speaker. Speakers are asked to begin their remarks by stating their name and address. Board members are not obligated to answer impromptu questions or address remarks from members of the public during the public comment period. Speakers should expect the board to refrain from engaging in a dialogue except to the extent necessary to clarify the speaker's comment. The allotted time for speaking is the only method to address the board during the public comment period. The board will not entertain questions or comments called out from the audience. When appropriate, the board may refer inquiries and items brought up during the public comment to the director or other staff. Speakers and members of the public comment should at all times maintain proper decorum and shall make their comments in a civil manner. I'm gonna move this over to you so we can look at that together. Do we have any public comments?
Dr. Nather, Pleasant Avenue. So I want to welcome you to District 8, where this Clara Library is situated. That is the district that I go ahead and represent. So glad that we have a meeting that's over here. I also want to let you guys know that I've been reached out to by some residents about the closing of the library, and I keep telling them that, you know, you guys have said publicly multiple times that you're not closing it. So I'm telling them to, you know, respect that they have said that they're going to work on this library. I want to thank the board members, the mayor, council, friends of the library, and other dignitaries that came to celebrate the groundbreaking of the North Library branch. It's nice for you guys to attend. I want to thank Secretary Cavati for meeting this. They're really good. I want to discuss a few things that I saw in the December 10th, 2019 meeting that was shared by a citizen. Mr. DePasquale, you spoke up and brought up a lot of ideas and concerns for the library. I am wondering how many of them happened. I'm not going to list them because I don't know what my time is, and if there's time, I will ask about them. I also wanted to share some outstanding advice that happened during a motion that I think would be great advice for this board and the council here. And this was from Councilman Joshi at the time. I disagree with the township attorney all the time. I don't need to follow this advice. It is your decision as a board member, regardless of what is happening right now. You don't have to listen to the library attorney, period. No governing body has to listen to the attorney. You as a trustee have the right to agree or disagree with your council. So I hope that you guys will take that advice when you guys make decisions. But as I started to think about that meeting, I saw something that was a little confusing, and in January, I talked about something about procedure. So I was wondering, how did Mayor Joshi now, why was he able to speak during a motion when in January, Councilman Brescher was unable to? Time and time again, he said, this is not your time to speak. So again, I have a problem with procedures not being followed, or maybe I just don't understand it. Somebody can enlighten me at some point, but it doesn't make sense. So it just seems like it was a political move at that point. Because in 2019, mayor was allowed to speak at that time. So the whole issue that I have that I keep bringing up, and I think that Mr. Pasquale or President De Pasquale, you mentioned a couple of the answers for some of my concerns, is that the issue started with the mayor with his appointment, then followed with the council, who moved very quickly to go ahead and take new membership into the board. And I could clearly see that you want to remove, or at least some people want to remove, Pat Massey and Sue O'Neill. So it just seems political to me. And then at the first meeting here, the new board decided to not allow Pat Massey to come in as a holdover. But here we only have 8 members. 3 months later, we're supposed to have 9. So Kat, I'm wondering if you can discuss if there's any person that you guys are of interest to make the 9th person. So what I think that could have happened in the last meeting, President De Pasquale, was that you might not have wanted to answer my questions, but the way that you just kind of dismissed my questions and just moved on to the next thing, I think that you could have handled that a little bit differently. Perhaps you could have said, we all make mistakes, but perhaps you could have said, you know what, I will answer your question. Give me some time. I want to think about it. And that would have been much more appreciated than what I saw happen. The other thing that I had questions that were still not resolved is, why was there a rush to get during the reorganization to get rid of the lawyer? Couldn't have waited the next time. Also, the resolution was not on the agenda, so that just seems again like a political move. Did anyone here know about the resolution prior to being brought up? It wasn't on the agenda, as I said, and did people get a paper copy? Wouldn't it be considered best practice for any new library board member to abstain from voting on something as critical as this, rather than casting a yes vote? Or would it make more sense to ask questions if you probably don't know the background, the history of what was going on? Maybe you do. So I fully expect that you guys will challenge things rather than just say yes. And finally, last question that wasn't answered was this: what happens to the salary given to the former attorney?
Not right now. I'll look into the salary issue. I'm not fully familiar with what was going on, but
Okay.
I'm happy to look at into that and report back to you.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, you can go first. No offense, Rich.
Sarah Nasser, also District 8 Pleasant Avenue here. And like up there said, this is our home district, so we're grateful that you're here, and we're grateful that you're attending all 3 of the libraries and not having this in the council chambers. So it actually gets a little bit more engagement, not as much as we thought we were going to get today, but hopefully as the months go by, we have more engagement in these meetings. A couple of topics that I wanted to bring up. On the February 26th, we were at the council chambers at council meeting to recognize our past trustees, and that was a nice way to say thank you for, I mean, Lisa had 18 years, and Sue, I'm not sure how many years Sue had, but Pat had 14 years. So all these years of volunteering to be a part of this board and to make such impacts to the library. Very grateful that they were recognized, and grateful for personally as well for everything that they've done here, which includes creating the Friends. Our next Friends meeting is next Wednesday here at the Clara Barton Library on the 19th at 7 p.m. The goal is to get more volunteers, right? So we're a year old and we're trying to get more people to come through here. In the last 2 months, we've had less than 10 people that have signed up. We're talking about 108,000 people in Edison, and I'm not even at 150, folks that are coming through here. So I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep going to every forum that I can. The request is join. The request is volunteer. Do something that needs to come through, because we want to have larger events. We want to do all these things, but we can't unless we have the volunteer core that's gonna be able to engage and support, as we come through here. So that's me being a broken record, come out and support and, voice your concerns. And then the community, conversations that are gonna be happening on the 20th, which is next Thursday. So next Wednesday is the Friends meeting, next Thursday, is the community conversations, all here at Clara Barton. And hopefully we'll be able to get some volunteers as well, to engage with them there. All right, thank you for the time.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Before you do speak, I just wanna say something, just again, for clarity, transparency, something that you brought up. The representatives that we have on the board from the Board of Education, and the mayor, sorry, they are actually board members. They're actually library trustees, where the representative from the council is not a trustee. So there's a difference there where the representative from the council doesn't come into the closed session and the representative is not a member. So that's why they are gonna speak, like Mr. Brescher is gonna speak during the public comment. So I just want to bring clarification to that, just so I don't know what, I wasn't on the board in 2019, whatever they decided, how they wanted to handle things. But I feel in checking with the lawyer, this is the right process that we will follow. It's not to quiet anybody down. It's not to, and I did speak to Mr. Brescher about this and, we're, yes. And you can speak, Mr. Brescher. I just wanted to clarify that. So, again.
And just to clarify.
Yes.
Mr. National, when Sam Joshi was a councilman, he interrupted the meeting. He turned this library into a circus. Then he got elected, and now he's a mayor, and he turned the council into a circus. But that's okay. What I'm here to talk about, though, wasn't that just happened. I'm gonna give the board members a recommendation. You can take it or not take it. I'm doing this as a resident. As a resident, I recommend the Board of Education at the time take my advice and let me look over documents or administer a meeting for their construction projects. And they decided they didn't want to do that. I ran for the Board of Education, got elected, and then found out that they had $400,000 in change orders that technically should have been paid by the architect. Okay, subsequently, that was rectified with the Bush Law Firm, where everybody took some responsibility. After that, I got on the council and I recommended to the BA and everybody there that you would allow me to look at your drawings and everything else. They neglected to do that. We got to a point where they had change orders that were out of control for the Jets field that went from 5 million up to 12. The only reason why they finally hired someone was that I finally sat down with the BA and I said, listen, all you're doing is just putting more daggers in the mayor by letting this cost overrun continue and continue. I said, you're gonna have over $500,000 in additional cost overrun. And she goes, where? I said, it's right here in your meeting minutes. But she doesn't know because that's not what she does for a living. The mayor doesn't know. I mean, no one knows is someone that does this for a living. So I'm gonna offer the board the same offer that I've offered to the Board of Ed and to the township. And that is, if you send me your meeting minutes to look at them, I'll tell you that you have change orders or issues that you're gonna have coming up. After that, that would be up to, you guys to decide, unless you've hired a construction management firm. And I don't know that you did. I just heard about the projects that you did. But I would do this like as a resident, not as your council person or something like that. I do it by own time, type of thing. You all know how to get a hold of me. So if you choose, you can. Yes. So yes, I mean, that's fine. That was it.
Great, we appreciate that. And Ellen, if you want to respond to
I just, for clarification, for the main library, we basically, since it was a small project, we basically relied on the architect and their staff, who are the project managers. So I would go with them, and we have been very fortunate that pretty much G. Meyer and Company, they've been there every day on site, and we have anything we talk about. We do have a project manager for the North Edison Ranch. simply because it was a much bigger project. And also, as you know, basically the main library, everything was done through the architect of the MEP, everything was done. North Edison was a little bit of a different config, that there were all these outside, consultants who were working, the MEPs, they're all separate. So we felt that we needed to go, so we have a project manager, for that. And we're very happy with the work he's done so far. He very much a taskmaster.
So, okay, I mean, I've just, like I said, before that, did that with the architect as a manager. That's where I found the $400,000 in change orders that we got Jonathan Bush to kind of get away. But I forgot there was one. I prefer not to do it. But I think so, but it's just out there.
But, so do we have an open invitation if we, would call you and perhaps want some advice on something? Would that be okay?
Yeah, I mean, I find stuff in just reading the material, reading minutes.
Right.
You know, I mean, simply put, I'll tell you this, when a contractor says, I need clarification, should I go right and go left? Let me tell you what happens. Right is a change order and left is a change order. It's a change order either way. The idea is how do you get out of his change order mode, type of thing, like pointing out, you know, issues on the drum. But yes, it's out there, we can talk, you know, afterward.
We appreciate the offer and we definitely would take that into consideration.
Thank you for the, I think that's a wonderful offer.
And otherwise it'll remain quiet.
North Bridge is like across the street from your house.
Okay, well, you'll have time.
North Bridge is like across the street from your
After
house.
this, we'll do board comments. Okay. All right, anybody else? No?
I just want
Oh,
to say, Michael Worth, Coordinator for Marketing for the library. Alan did mention it in his report. Kat, you're probably gonna bring it up, but the St. Patrick's Day event is Saturday, March 15th. The bookmobile will be there. So community is, of course, come out, see the bookmobile, especially our newest trustees. Come see the library at the St. Patrick's Day event.
Great.
It's become a tradition. We've been there almost every year.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, we're gonna close, public comment. Okay, and just again, clarification, we don't need a vote for opening and closing public comment, so we're not gonna go through that. We don't need to do that. Does anybody have, announcements?
I'll piggyback off that.
Yeah.
That's okay. So this Saturday, we have our St. Patty's event. And again, the one thing I wanted to mention too is it's at the Stewart's Lot. So if you haven't been to the Clara Barton Library or this area before, it's a great opportunity to come out. I agree with you, our new members or anyone who has yet to see the bookmobile, if you've never seen a bookmobile, it's really cool. It's one of those things that you may think you know what it is going into it, but you really don't until you walk in. So come on out, check it out. It'll be a good event, a fun event. Got pretty much rained out last year, so fingers crossed that won't happen this year. But thank you, that's all.
Anybody else? All right,
What is that report about the
Tony?
council thing?
I'm sorry?
Am I supposed to give a report about what happens on the council?
If you can, if you have something to report on.
Relevant?
As long as, if you want to, it's up to you.
I'll just say it because there's two laws every day. I don't know that it affects anyone, it could affect the library, I'm not sure you guys actually got planned on anything.
I don't think we have any bamboo this week.
Oh, that was it, we have a bamboo ordinance, that we're passing, that might need to be modified, because it seems like could be issues here and there. And then we have like adopt an area program where businesses or people can adopt certain areas and kind of beautify them. You know, we've done them in the past, you've seen the signs, and when you enter into town and all that, and it looks great when we first do it, and then nobody maintains them, they fall into disrepair. So I guess it's time for us to start the program up again, to make it a little nicer again. That'd be it.
Great, thank you, appreciate that. And I just want to encourage the trustees to look at the calendars of the library and attend some of the events. Again, it's a great encouragement to the staff And, you know, like I said, I had a great time the other day with the Irish singer. It was really fun.
You were in there the whole time.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it. So, all right, so it's not on the agenda. It should, I'm gonna, yeah. It's not on the agenda, but I'm adding to the agenda for board member comments. So, why don't we start with Mr. Romano? He's.
First of all, I want to thank, Mr. Brescher, and the rest of the board members, especially Mr. Brescher.
For the board, for the bamboo.
I was told I can't sit next to you. I don't know why. There could be a problem. For trustees that have seen me and talked to me and been in meetings, there's certain things that I've talked about, and it's called errors and omissions. I think Mr. Brescher understands those. And to be perfectly honest, that's why construction consultants are our friends. They're not our enemies. I've asked questions of the trustees and the public. There were just certain things that just didn't make sense. And in the past 2 years, I finally got information back. The plans that we put together were put together by architects and consultants. And then all of a sudden we found out that something's wrong here or something's wrong there. And I keep talking about errors and omissions. And that's one of the big problems that we have. Now, that's why we have a consultant that does our work or working for us. And that's to make sure that if there's an error, we're not charged for it. If there was an omission, in other words, the building is supposed to have 32 rooms and there's no water for the labs, errors and omissions. So the facts is that Mr. Brescher's right. Not that I would vote for him, but I'm sorry, Rich. Was that good? You got that? Okay. But the truth of the matter is that I'm a truck driver. Alan operates the library. Board members or trustees here have other jobs, but the professionals, this is really bad. It's bad. I'm not a professional, but when I see an error or an omission and we get a change order, I don't want to pay for it. That's why Mr. Brescher is absolutely right. I just want to make sure everybody understands. A small error, like the pitch on a roof. Well, it's not that bad. But if the scupper on the roof isn't big enough to take all of the water in the rain, that's a problem. That's where errors and omissions or somebody that can look at this is a plan and go, the pitch should be going this way, not that way. And then we wind up eating the cost. So I'm really appreciative that we have managed to get construction consultant who actually was at some of our meetings and didn't like me, which was very good. I appreciate that.
He likes you.
Yeah, he didn't like me a couple times. But you see, to the public, Mr. Brescher is 100% right. When it comes to something called We the People, it's we the people, that's our money. And we take on a big project, like asbestos tiles. Oh, we only took off 2 or 3. Oh yeah? Well, I'm sorry, but then we found out there was a problem. Well, the fact of the matter is that was an error. Not an omission, that was an error. And according to the contracts, according to errors and omissions, we don't eat that. That's why we have to take and really scrutinize and talk to these people and make sure that it's 100% right that we don't pay. So our students, our customers, you know, that our customers or our students and our public, that they don't get, not for nothing, they don't get charged more than what it's supposed to be. For Mr. Brescher, well, I hate to say this, God, for Rich, to be perfectly honest, thank you. We need your help. And a lot of people don't understand that. So I'll be calling you personally anyway. And you know, the thing is, you know, at the time of the morning that I gotta call you, you're always running somewhere.
Oh, that's true.
You have a good day, Rick. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you for keeping us accountable with, the error and omissions. It's something important. So, anybody else? Any board member comments?
I just wanted to know.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, you first.
Can
Yeah, go ahead.
The cost for the logo, like it was, I guess we were not here before, but for this rebranding, like what is the cost involved?
The logo was, for the consultant was was 5,000.
And then any additional costs going forward?
No,
or-
the only additional cost is we need to, purchase, new software to be able to manipulate it with the AI, but other than that, we own it, it's ours. Michael and Victoria are gonna use it and play with it, that was it.
They did offer their assistance. I mean, we would be purchasing their time, if
For
we needed
extra
it.
training.
Yeah,
we
for
need,
training
but-
and whatnot, or any additional services. So they did put themselves out there, but there was no, it was
really quite a bargain rate.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Did you?
I do have some suggestions coming up.
Yeah, sure.
So there are a few people come forward and there are three different requests that, three different category. One parent came to me and then few supported that do we have a special need kids program and special area allocated for them? They want it.
We don't, we have an occasional, but, now that we have a full, staff, we're actually be looking at it. We've done some sensory story times, but we're also looking at developing a special needs center as part of, our new, history center downstairs, because that room is quite big. So, it's something that, is on the agenda for us to absolutely look at. We already have a relationship with the Alliance for Independence down here. We partnered with on something there, I say they're right here because they're on NYFE. I'm trying to think which one, that way. They're that way, yeah. So it certainly is something that we would really love to do.
Okay. That's good to know. Another thing is, do we do anything for seniors? They cannot really commute to library.
For
How,
seniors?
yeah, how are we planning to reach out to them?
Well, there's two things. One is if you look at the programs for this branch, Liz, who is the branch manager and is our older adult services librarian, a lot of the programs for older adults are actually here at the moment. We also do the chair yoga for them on Mondays. We do the Tai Chi for the older adults at the main library on the alternate weeks. Liz goes out to organize groups, anyone that's looking for us to do that. And I would still say that we serve most of our seniors through the bookmobile.
Okay.
So the bookmobile is either seniors or kids. So, we are also, now going to, do, and you're getting me to, because I don't wanna, we've got a whole bunch of new initiatives for May, which is Older Americans Month, so I don't want to announce them yet.
Okay.
But I can talk to you offline
Yeah.
about what we're planning to do, because I'd like to get them all aligned correctly. So that's gonna be our big kickoff. to expand our, programs for older adults. Part of, the problem was, with even doing programming, this was the only viable auditorium that we had. Main library, as you know, up and down north, where we will be able to do small programs at the new facility. So that will be able for us to rekindle. We also have ongoing programs on health and wellness from, I guess it's now not JFK anymore, it's Meridian Health, that come in almost on a weekly basis to do those kind of programs. And those are particularly, they're done at 12 o'clock. Those are particularly aimed towards our seniors. So there's always more we can do.
Yeah.
And I think part of what we're also looking at as part of the community conversations when we do and send out a survey is what is it that people are looking for?
Yeah.
You know, what is it that they can't get elsewhere that we can provide? So we're looking for that feedback. Also, we will be announcing 2 advisory boards, which we've had in our volunteer policy for years, but we have not actually done it. One is a parents advisory board that will work with the children's and teen staff to better enhance the programs we do. And the other one is an older adults advisory board. So we're gonna try to reach out to people in the community who would like to meet with the staff so we can improve what we do.
Okay, that's great.
Can I just say one thing about that? Just because the question, I guess, was coming up, do you think that the communication is not out there to the seniors?
So that's why I'm asking.
Is that, okay, that's what I was just wondering.
So,
But if I could just interrupt, and he's gonna laugh because he said to me, he was the youngest person in the room on Sunday.
Right.
So, our weekend programs, when we do the weekend programs, the concerts or anything, predominantly it is, older adults.
okay.
So it may not say older adult,
Mhm.
but when you do something on a Sunday afternoon at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I mean, there were some kids there, but
Yeah.
he was kind of joshing, he was the youngest one in that room. So we do have those kind of programs that, they're not advertised as older adults, but of course, all our programs are open, to anyone who wants.
So the one question I had was, I'm sorry, I'll let you, was, like, do we have communication to the senior centers of what's happening? And if not, is that something maybe we can do through the township and, or however,
Well,
you know?
Kat and I have this email out that we
Okay.
have to follow up that, because I didn't get a response.
Right.
We wanted to talk to the senior center and Minnie Vale,
Oh, you're right.
right? Yeah.
I put you in touch with the right people, but then we didn't hear back. You're right.
To talk
Let me
about
follow
doing
up.
more with them.
Yeah.
We do the bookmobile stop,
Right.
both at the senior center and at Minnie B. Vale.
And do we have like the flyers of what's happening in the bookmobile?
Of what they're.
Yeah, like the seniors, is there something that can we hand them a flyer with
Oh,
events?
absolutely.
You know, I mean, if we're going to see them, that would be a great way to have, you know, hey, this is coming up for seniors in the next month or whatever, just an idea, but continue.
So let me tell you, I have visited many senior centers, try to do as much as possible I can solve them. And one thing I have found among all the senior centers and met and talked to them, technology is the issue. Whenever, you know, very few of them, they are able to go to, you know, internet and do their basic things. Most of them, they cannot. So I was thinking if we can have any program that is for seniors where we teach them technology, there would be a lot of people are very interested to learn.
I think once we maybe get a little bit, so we have been working on our we call it our literacy department, but it's more than literacy because everything is about literacy. So we currently have one staff person who works part-time who is kind of our computer trainer. We have open hours that people can come in at all the branches. we, were awarded a, contract from the state library for, a full-time staff person from AmeriCorps who is going to be a digital navigator. And so that person probably, if we could work something out, maybe with the senior center and Mini Reveal, could go out and do programs there, as a potential of doing that. But we're now, and we're, those would be the full-time and the part-time. We can always do programs for seniors. We just need to find a place and, the time. And, maybe you'll give us a list of those folks who really want, we call them,
Yeah.
because I would rather schedule it for days and times that maybe work for them, rather than us scheduling something and that's not when they're available. So if you could maybe get back to me, what day and time would work for them? And then we can schedule stuff. That's not a problem.
Okay, I'll get back to you.
Okay.
Maybe we can talk offline.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
In the meantime, to fill the gap until they are digitally literate and can go to online and see their things and schedule and whatnot, can we have a flyer that we can hand over? These are the events that is happening whole month, and they keep it very nicely because I have seen them wherever they want to go and they're interested. The flyer really works for them.
Well, separate from the monthly calendar.
Mhm.
Okay, because we've got, literally, we do flyers for every program, so they're out there, we just need to make sure. And if you have specific people or whatever, we could send you, I can, send you some of the flyers that you could just share with them. You know, we could send it to you electronically if that makes it easier. And spare it, and it would be great if the other trustees have particular interests in things
Yes.
that we could send flyers to you and you share them with people that you know who might be interested.
We can also, I don't know where, it's just go to Mini Review, the book mobile. I can tell you the areas where they can go and they can actually cover maximum seniors. I'll come back to you with a list.
Okay,
Yeah. Also regarding the special needs kids, the program that you said, can we elaborate and can happen to all other centers, not just here?
what do you mean?
Like you said, the program, the special needs.
The special
kids
needs
program,
center.
that happens over here, right? A few
I'm
programs.
not sure where the last time they did it.
Okay,
They may have done it more at Maine than they actually did it here. So we can check to see, and I'll talk to the children's staff. We'll probably do for a programming meeting, next week, once the things settle at North. Because we usually plan a couple of months in advance. So I could talk to them about, and we do try to do, there's two things. One, we try to encourage each one of the staff to be a little bit different so that we're not doing all cookie cutters, exactly the same thing 3 times everywhere. Now that we have, for example, we just started different kind of programming at North, bilingual programming, English, Spanish, for example, story time, because the newest children's librarian is bilingual. We'll meet with all of them and talk about this as an initiative that we would like to do moving forward. And I think, Board President, Di Pasquale had talked about, us having this be one of our initiatives, this year, when he, was elected president in January, if memory serves me
Yes.
correct.
Yeah, and the one comment I just want to say about that also, is I would also encourage those parents with the special needs children to even attend the actual meetings that are happening, even if it's not for special needs. You know, if the parents are there with them and they're doing a craft or something, it's not like if the parents are helping them,
right.
they should, they could do something, they could, so I would definitely put it out there. Well, just because it doesn't say special needs program, it doesn't mean your child, shouldn't be there. You know what I mean? So I would encourage them that bring them any events at the library and see how it works out. And, if there's some children that can go to those programs without a problem, some might need assistance. But, I think that's something that is, you know, something that you can just, you know, promote to them. It's just go to any event, doesn't have to be labeled special needs.
Right.
We're gonna have some in the future, you know, but, you know, that's, you know, like any of the music programs and stuff, I mean, you know, bring your kids to it, it's fine, I mean, it's not a problem, but it's really what I would do, I've done that with my kids. You know, I brought them, you know, as everybody knows, my two sons are special needs, and I brought them to, you know, typical, if you wanna use that word, programs that didn't have to be a special needs program. You know, and that's what I would encourage definitely parents to look at. So, you know, but yeah, we are definitely, it is an initiative, and I know Alan has that on his list, and, you know, it's one of the things that amongst everything else that we're doing, you know, to get things moving on that too, so, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So do we have those programs listed in the calendar?
Everything's listed in the calendar.
Okay.
The calendar is usually completed, at least a week before the start of the new month. It goes out everywhere. And we, you know, we're sending email blasts, 5 days a week. And they go out to about 25,000 people at this point, about 30,000 people. We also do repeats, so there are things that go out at the beginning of the month that have all the monthly programs. And each weekend, Friday or the Saturday, the programs for the following week go out just to remind them. And then the other email blasts are to focus on programs that are bigger or we would like to get more people to attend. So, yeah, it's going out to a big audience. Probably the next time that we meet with Dr. Alderelli, we could talk about if there's a better way for us to connect with some of the special needs children in the district as well. So we're due for every couple of months we meet with him, and Joe's been at most of the meetings, and Mr. Toth and some other folks. So we've got a good working relationship with the Board of Ed. So we'll talk to them as well, because they might be able to help us in what is it they can't provide that perhaps they can make some suggestions for us that we might be able to do.
Great. One more.
No,
last
go ahead.
question.
No, okay.
Do you have any yoga or meditation program in library? Okay. Okay, so
Actually, I just saw one that's coming up for us, right? Meditation, or am I?
Oh, tomorrow, meditation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
And we do the chair yoga here in this room every other Monday. And we started start the Bollywood dance, right? That's at Maine. Or if we're just gonna start that Bollywood movement
I don't know.
on, it's kind of the alternate week. For 1 week is chair yoga, the next week will Bollywood movement.
nice.
So, yeah, and we've always had meditation. We're actually even starting a staff wellness committee at their request. And so they're organizing that. So I'm not sure what they want to do, but I'm waiting for a report.
Anything else?
Sounds good, yeah, sounds good. Somebody reach out to me, is good in meditations, I'm gonna just forward his resume to you so you can.
Do you remember where it is tomorrow?
It's virtual.
So anyone could attend from anywhere.
Correct, yeah.
So Alan, how do residents sign up to get on the email? So they go to the website?
99% of the people on our email list are library card holders. Other than that, they can go on the website. On the bottom of it is the email list. They can sign up for the email, and then that goes.
Great.
Michael actually adds that or Seven to the database.
Yeah,
Automatic. He's got it done automatically into the database.
So that's another thing, you know, with the trustees, if people ask you questions, what's happening with the library? You know, tell them, number one, to get a library card, that should be the first thing, and number two, to go to the website and sign up, and, you know, that'll give more people the, you know, opportunity to learn what's happening. Anybody else? Any other comments?
Thank you very much for.
Quick question. I
Yes.
have a suggestion for the old senior adults that people like to play some games like mahjong or some board games or something. If they know once a week they can come for a couple hours to the library, or someone can teach something to gather for the people to look forward to come to the library. Our senior center, senior center doesn't have it, or we can coordinate whether it's a senior center or in the library for a certain period of time. I mean, a couple hours a week, somewhere they can gather. This is the request I got from the community. So I just want to let you know.
Maybe we're thinking the same thing.
Probably.
I
I
mean,
mean, Liz has been doing those.
Oh,
The
Mark, yeah.
older adult services librarian has been doing, she's been alternating senior trivia and then senior game day. It's usually in the early afternoons. I think the same day, I think Tuesdays, I want to say. So she's been alternating for games and trivia, just to get seniors out and interacting with each other in the library.
And if we do have a lot of people that want to do mahjong, we could put something in the email blast and see if people are interested, what library is their nearest.
We can bring it up at the community conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
The issue seems to be the senior people might not be getting the email, so maybe get the flyers out to them at the senior centers, and that way maybe they won't complain as much that they don't know what's going on, I guess, right? So the flyers might be the solution.
The senior, I think I was gonna say I'm older than Joe. I think I might be the oldest one in the room.
All right, anybody else?
My fault.
Anybody else? No, all right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. Everybody, aye?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.